Hi, and welcome to the Australian Gamer Show. I'm Matt.
And I'm Yug.
Tonight we're going to be talking about Darksiders versus Bayonetta.
Sega to stop making adult Wii games.
Woman forces her husband to give up his orc.
Ion gives players $33 trillion in gold.
Whatever. Drug dealer arrested on WoW.
And virtual property sells for a record price. Let's talk about drugs.
Yeah, why not? Let's jump straight into drugs. This is probably the most interesting story I thought for the week was that basically this drug dealer, that's what they call him, a drug dealer. He was actually being arrested for...
what else do you call them?
Well,
if you're dealing drugs, I mean...
When you think drug dealer,
yes,
you think guy on the street selling crack to school children, right? Or is that just me? That's the impression I have. That's what drug dealers do. Some guy who sold some pot to his friends or something. To me, that's not really quite the same thing. I don't put them in the same league.
I guess there are different, levels of drug dealing.
There are levels of drug dealing.
But no, the immediate one to my mind isn't the crackheads on the street.
Really, no?
No, mine are more the wandering, sweaty people in nightclubs.
Right. Fair enough. Anyway, I don't know what drugs exactly he was selling, but I know pot was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless,
was he selling them on WoW?
No, he fled to Canada. And that's about it. No one knew where he'd gone. The police were looking for him. The detective who was looking for him found out he had a WoW addiction. So,
along with all his other addictions. Yep.
Well, we don't know. They don't always use their stuff.
Don't try from your own supply.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Anyway, so the guy's name was Alfred Hightower, which I hope he looked, because the impression I get immediately
is the guy from Police Academy.
Exactly. So
yes.
Yeah, so the image of him playing WoW is kind of cool for a start.
As a drug dealer, it's probably an appropriate image. Actually, I can see that.
Because he's black.
No, because
and black people do drugs.
Tall and well built.
No, I think I'm just sticking with that.
Anyway, moving on.
Anyway, so they found out he was a drug dealer. They said that he was potentially playing WoW and subpoenaed Blizzard for the information.
All right.
Didn't expect to hear anything back. A couple of months went by, and then suddenly Blizzard sent them a full pack of all of the details of exactly where he'd been logging in, logging out.
Oh, wow.
All this kind of stuff. They went around and arrested him and extradited him back to the US to face charges for drugs. There are some interesting aspects to this case, though. One of which is that okay?
That's another reason not to play WoW, kids.
Yeah, well, is it okay that if the authorities ask for your information, then they just give it up, or?
Well, as in Blizzard give it up? Or?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, it is. I remember I used to run a chat website ages and ages ago, and I actually got contacted by the police at one point. They were after information about one of the users on the site.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And I gave it to them. I mean,
yeah.
Why? It's the authorities asking for information on and details. I guess.
Yeah, it's not like someone looking for their ex-husband or something. Like
exactly.
It's the police. You're supposed to.
It's not some jilted ex-lover or something. Saying, "Is he chatting to this person on the chat?"
Yeah,
which they usually were. But yeah. Anyway,
the other thing that was interesting about this whole story was that we got to find out his character. And he has a level 80 shaman on Blade Fist called Rastlin. And his character, they linked to his armory and stuff, and his character is actually surprisingly undergeared for someone who's addicted. So
right. Okay.
So yeah, that's disappointing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could go and add him as a friend, or I don't think he'll be playing much anymore. Do they have WoW in prison? Because if I ever did go to prison, I would want something like WoW.
Well, I've heard that they don't allow drugs in prisons because that's bad, but there still is a really strong supply. So maybe there's like an underground WoW supply where people are smuggling in those prepaid cards up their butt. I think that's what's happening.
But hold on. Do they have computers in cells, jail cells?
I don't know about in
Laptops?
cells. I know they have some access and then it's limited and it depends what you've done and so on.
I don't care what card been up an ass. I don't want anything that's gone up an ass. I would never be that addicted.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Oh, remind me not to try and sell you my extensive poo collection then. Whatever.
Fair enough. Sorry, and the interesting thing is, actually, when I first read that drug dealer arrested, I actually thought it was something way less cool. Like, he's selling illegal items in WoW or something
Yeah,
like
no.
that. So
But speaking of selling stuff in WoW, let's go on
yes.
to the one after that, which was
we're on a WoW roll.
yeah. Well, we'll get it all out of the way. Virtual property sells for record price. This was in Planet Calypso. Are you familiar with this game?
It sounds familiar.
Do you remember at eGames there was a stall where they had
Yes.
scantily clad women giving away CDs?
I do remember that.
That was for Planet Calypso and
Yes.
MMO.
Yeah, I was told about actually the guys that were manning that booth didn't actually work for the company. They were actually just avid fans of the actual
they were
game.
players. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
they were players, and they just really wanted to bring it to Australia because it's not really big here.
Well, I don't know much about it at all, and I was kind of interested to read that something called Crystal Palace, some sort of like
Sounds
space
like a casino.
station. Yeah, I think it might be. I got the feeling it was some like pleasure precinct or something in
The red light district? No.
well, in Planet Calypso anyway.
Sure.
I don't know where it is. I'm not going to speculate.
Sure.
But it was in an area called Euphoria, which
Okay.
may
Right.
suggest
We're getting the image. So-
sold at auction in
Yeah.
real life for $330,000 US.
The fuck you say?
Yes, the fuck I
What,
say.
is that US? That's US.
Well, even if it's not, let's say it's Australian.
Holy crap! How many? So this was at some actual auction.
Let's pretend it was Sotheby's.
No, I'm actually just wondering how much stuff did they sell from this? Obviously, this is a standout property.
No, I think it was probably a one-off. I don't think they had a next lot.
Right. Okay.
Crystal Palace in Calypso, Planet Calypso.
$330,000.
What I can't help thinking of at this point is the homeless. Like,
but
they're going, I have nowhere to live, I have no home, I sleep on the street. Fuck you.
what? No, it's just like a property developer actually buying property.
Well, it probably is. It's possibly an investment for him, and he figures he'll sell it for more later when he's done some development on
I
it.
don't think buying virtual property is a good investment.
I
don't think whoever bought that for $330,000. I don't think he bought that because he's thinking, wow, this could pay off in 5 years' time. If the prices are right on property in this game, and it's going to skyrocket in 3 years. There's going to be a property boom.
They say property's a safe investment.
Yeah,
I
but
think
they have to exist.
Shh. You and your existing fetish.
All right, continuing on with the online gaming side.
We do have a bit much MMO stuff happening here. I don't know why, possibly because nothing else is happening. A woman in Scotland, a Scottish man, had a gigantic orc statue that he got when a gaming company closed down.
As you
6
do.
foot tall green orc.
Right.
And it's quite funny to read the Scottish Sun, I think it was called, newspaper.
Sounds about right.
Their article about it was basically, that level of journalism that just every now and then puts one word in all caps and bold, like awesome or crazy or monster. It was written like that, and I love that, and that always speaks to me of quality journalism. And I kept calling it like a monster. But they're not monsters, they're misunderstood. But anyway, the point is his wife, he imported a Canadian wife.
What?
Well, I don't know. This is kind of
This is
unrelated
just what
to this is unrelated to
This whole journalism thing part of this website isn't really.
No, none
living
of
up
that
to-
was relevant. But basically, his new wife moved over from Canada
Yep.
to Scotland, and she didn't like the orc.
So did she give him like the "it's me or the orc"?
She did. She said she actually said, yeah, either I go or either it goes or I go.
What did he choose?
Well, he made a different decision to what I would have. Let's just say that. And he no longer has an orc. Well, it's not that I wouldn't choose to give up the orc, but if told, give up the orc.
It's a matter of principle then.
It's then a matter of principle, and I have very few principles,
yes,
but that is
this
one
is
of them.
True.
But yeah, so he sold the orc. It wasn't listed as. In fact, apparently he gave it up for adoption.
What?
He may not have sold it. He may have actually just given it out for adoption, and an old couple got it.
No. What? What is with these fucking use the word weird ass online story things? These are completely random and
I know, I like them. Well, the last one, just to get off the MMO thing, is quite quick, which is that NCSoft's Ion made a small mistake over the weekend and accidentally gave a small number of players, this is in quotes, small number of players, 33 trillion of the online currency.
Now, I have no perspective of this.
No,
How
you need
much
perspective of
does
this kind of stuff. It's not like WoW.
Right.
And so people who only know from
Okay,
WoW.
take a step back. Even
No,
if
I
I don't
know.
know WoW.
Having 100,000 would be a lot.
Right.
That would be quite a lot.
So they did pretty good getting 33 trillion.
33
then.
trillion of anything is a lot,
Yeah.
I think. And it's not gold, actually. It's Kina.
Did they have to give it back?
Well, basically what they did is everyone who got this kind of did exactly what we would do if that landed in our bank account.
Went and bought a shitload
Went
of
and
stuff.
bought a lot of shit and sent it to their friends and sent it to everyone else and sent money to people and
Yep.
sent it to, alts and
So there's not
hid
really
it
any way
here
for them
and
to really
there was
take
one
that
way.
back.
14 hours later, they had to roll the server back to where it was.
Shit.
Yeah, so everyone who'd been playing for that 14 hours, all of their
That would have
time
pissed
was
a
lost.
lot of people off.
Yeah, apparently so. They did. They have announced they're going to make reparations. They're going to send out some item for people for everyone who was logged in during that time.
Oh, right.
So they get free shit anyway, but
Not $33 trillion
not
of free
33
shit, though.
trillion worth of free shit. But yeah, I thought that was kind of funny. That's a big mistake.
Yeah.
Imagine that happening in WoW.
Well, there you go. The trials and tribulations of the online MMORPGs.
And just another quick one. Did you know WoW is still shut down in China?
No.
WoW has been shut down in China and has remained so for quite some time.
When was it shut down?
A couple of months ago.
Why?
Something to do with classification and it not working within their laws and it being, I don't know. China has weird laws.
I've always thought this actually. It's a hard one to classify because so much of the content is user content. As in, how do you classify an online game for swearing, for example? I mean, it's voice chat. If someone else swears, you can't. There's no way to prepare for that.
Yeah, and the other thing, well, WoW's always had an interesting reception in China. It's got 1.6 or maybe close to 2 million players there now, which is a pretty substantial number. But they've always censored it really harshly. Like the undead in China don't have their flesh exposed, like their bones exposed. They have to be fully fleshed because that's going to somehow teach bad morals or something. It's just and there's no blood and there's a couple of other
there's
things.
That whole you don't want skin exposed sort of thing. Advertising sort of thing. They in the 50s they used to cover the women up
I don't
quite
think
a lot.
bone counts.
No, because that's less than skin.
It is less than skin.
So maybe that's worse than skin.
That is more naked.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, okay.
No.
Yeah, but anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to Sega.
Let's move on to Sega. Sega have claimed, due to the lackluster response of games such as House of the Dead, Overkill, and Mad World, that they're maybe toning back on the making the mature games for the Wii. And in particular, who are they talking to? I think Sega Studio Director Konstantin Hatsopopoulos. His name is Konstantin.
Yeah, whatever.
That's awesome. Anyway, basically they were looking at other titles as well, like Dead Space Extraction on the Wii. He was saying, look, this is a game that we thought would do huge, and we expected it to be a massive, massive hit, especially based on the success of the 360 and the PS3 version.
Yeah, very popular game.
Dead Space Extraction on the Wii only sold 9,000 copies in the US between its release between September 29 and the end of the Market Research MPD's monthly reporting period in October.
Yeah, 9,000.
9,000. That is not a lot of. That's nothing. That is an absolute and utter dismal failure.
And even from what I heard, it was actually quite good as well, and was quite well reviewed and stuff. So it's not like it was so bad it didn't sell.
Yeah.
It was just people didn't buy it, so it didn't sell.
So this comes back to a fundamental question. I mean, look, when House of the Dead and Mad World, when they were announced, when they came out on the Wii, we were pretty excited. We're like, oh, good. Because, especially as hardcore gamers, we're always like, fuck yeah, thank God they're doing games that are targeted to us.
The real games.
The real games targeted to more adult gamers. And, I don't want another Wii Balance board game or another Wii. Well, I do. I like them. But I'm just saying I like having the more hardcore games. So the fact they're not actually selling on a platform whose games generally are actually always in the top 1, 2, and 3 of all the sales charts as it is.
I recall at the end of last year, the sales charts had only 2 things that weren't on the Wii, and they were Modern Warfare 2 on both platforms.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, that's
But then again, this is the thing. You look at all those Wii titles, and they're Wii Fit, Wii Sports Resort,
yeah,
and then there are like I think there was one year where there was Beach Sports, or there was a THQ Beach Sports
yeah.
thing, or like these random titles that I've never really played, and they're more aimed at the casual market, not people like us. So you know,
I constantly think, and I'm constantly reminded that we as gamers don't actually know anything about the games industry. And the reason I say that is because we think we do because we talk on our forums and stuff, and everyone goes, "Yes, I'm going to get that," and we'll hear, "Yes, I'm going to get that too." Oh, that's my favorite game. That'll be awesome.
sure,
But we tend to forget that there's this vast number of people that just buy the latest Need for Speed or Madden title,
yep,
and that those represent such a phenomenal amount of money while not representing a voice in any way. And I think that the Wii and this kind of thing sort of proves that these are people who have not spoken and said we need this, we want this, we demand this kind of stuff. They just buy it and they shut the hell up.
yeah, that's a good point. Here's a question for you: do you think that hardcore gamers are a minority?
Yeah, vastly.
Yeah.
I would think, in the same way that movie aficionados or movie buffs, film buffs,
Yep.
would be the vast minority among people who went and saw Avatar or people who went and saw
Transformers.
or well, not even just taking sort of more recent stuff or
Sure.
Sherlock Holmes or whatever. It's just a thing people do. It's not a thing
It's
enthusiasts necessarily do.
Yeah, I mean, most people, I guess, would just be entertained
Yeah,
by
exactly.
the entertainment medium that they're actually.
So yeah, I do think
partaking in.
that what we consider gamers are probably something of a minority among.
And I guess there's the problem because, I mean, you need to look at it from like Sega or EA's point of view, and they go, well, look, we did put a lot of effort, and Dead Space was an original IP,
Yeah.
and so was Mad World, and House of the Dead Overkill was certainly, off the wall. They tried to do
It was
something
certainly
very
adult.
different. And they've taken these risks. They've gone out on a limb, and as gamers, generally we've been like, yeah, fantastic, do it. But I wouldn't keep making them if I was them.
No, hell no.
That's the problem. So,
I'd take back the ones I had made and just go, no, you can't have them.
So
I don't know if that's possible.
no, I don't think so.
No.
Not really. But yeah, I guess for the rest of us, I guess the 360 and the PS3 are really. But then again, you look at something like Modern Warfare 2, which is like the highest selling medium of all time, and you've just got to wonder the difference between like Modern Warfare 2 and Dead Space Extraction. Is it just the console it's on?
I think part of it is. I think Modern Warfare 2 is a really interesting game because it's one of those ones that sort of straddles this. What we were talking about, the enthusiasts and the
kind that the serious hardcore
Mm.
gamers will buy because they know it's a good game or it's good gameplay, but you Need for Speed and Madden people will play as well because it's entertaining.
Well, yeah, and they know the franchise and they've played previous
yeah.
ones and they hear reviews. These are people who they may well read a review here and there. They may hear some news. They may hear friends talk about it or whatever. But yeah, they represent a vast number of people buying these things
Yep.
and they pump up the numbers.
Yeah. So yeah, well, I think that sucks because I thought House of the Dead Overkill was fucking awesome.
It was an awesome game. It was really very, very cool, and I guess we've always said that the Wii's kind of been treated as a kiddie console, and Sega were one of the few who tried to buck that trend, but it looks like the trend is unbucked.
Yeah, I mean, even the games that kind of are hardcore and do appeal to people like us, like your Marios and your Zeldas and things like that, games of substance, they're still kind of kiddie in nature.
Well, they are.
So
yeah. They're very G-rated.
Yeah, exactly.
PG.
Yeah. Well, that sucks. I guess there won't be much stabbing or blood curdling or movements on the Wiimote.
There's still a couple coming. There is still a Silent Hill game coming next year.
There's Red Steel 2.
There's Red Steel 2. So there are a few adult titles coming, but it's
they're
looking
far and few between.
At the very least, Sega, it looks like they're pulling out of that space.
Which is a shame. So that moves us on to...
Speaking of Sega, they've recently released a major title.
Last topic of the podcast. 2 games that have been released in this first week of 2010. Very similar in gameplay and style, though.
In some ways, yes, I can see that. In the broad genre and themes and stuff.
Bayonetta and Darksiders.
Yeah, well, now we're going to have an epic battle here. 2 men enter. Well, 2 sort of men enter.
2 men will still leave.
Yeah, 2 men will leave, but like idiots. 2 men entered, and that's important to establish.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay. Anyway, look,
It's not a very good Thunderdome.
I'm going to start, all right? I'm going to start by saying that I've played, finished, and reviewed Darksiders, and it is the best game I've played all year. It's,
Oh, you know what? I wouldn't say that of
No,
Bayonetta because the other day for no apparent reason I played through Portal.
oh, right.
So
What, had you never,
no, I've played it before.
you just played it again?
Of all the Orange Box, the only part of it I've ever actually played, and just shut the fuck up here because I know what noise you're gonna make. Is actually Portal. I have not played any of Half-Life 2. I have not played Team Fortress 2.
Oh my god, are you
Yes,
serious?
whatever, Jesus.
You call yourself a gamer?
No.
Oh.
Anyway, yeah, so for some reason I decided to, instead of playing the others, play Portal again. I don't know why. It was not the best decision of mine, but it was late and I felt like playing Portal.
The best game that's been released this year that I've played so far has been Darksiders. It's a third-person action adventure, and I do stress the adventure side of it as well. There's way more puzzle solving than I possibly expected. But you play as War, the horseman of the apocalypse, who returns during the apocalypse. Funny enough.
You are, in fact, a god of war,
yes.
if I understand correctly. Is that the case?
Yes, that is the case. But maybe it's just the mood I'm in at the moment. Maybe it just caught me at the right time. Usually I'm all, oh, this is just a rip-off of this other game. But you know what? Yes, it is a rip-off of God of War, and the puzzle adventure elements are complete blatant rip-offs of Zelda. But I'm fine with that. I am absolutely okay with that.
Yeah.
I have had so much fun playing through this game, and it at every point it was enjoyable because of not because of the story or the characters, who are so one-dimensional they might not even exist.
Well, they are cartoon characters done by a cartoon artist, to my understanding.
Yeah.
I've heard people comment on the character design. Someone was saying that the character design is amazing because it's by and how good he is. And the main character is a space marine.
He's not a space marine.
He looks like a fucking space marine.
Do you reckon?
Yes.
Okay, I never really thought of that before, but okay.
He looks like a space marine, and he's just running around with his big fucking gloves. Ooh, I've got big fucking gloves.
And a big fucking sword, don't forget that. A huge fucking sword of Final Fantasy proportions.
He does have a big sword, which overcompensating much. But yeah, nah.
No, anyway, look, it's awesome. The battles are actually huge against these massive enemies. It's just fun. The whole experience was really fun. And I'm someone that usually focuses on like the cinematic narrative. I want to get pulled into the plot and the storyline and care about the characters. Almost treat games like I treat movies.
Yeah,
As in, I want to really get something out of it. And I didn't get anything out of Darksiders. I didn't cry at the ending. I didn't when a character dies and I'm like, oh no, or oh my god, there's been a double cross in the plot. Ooh, the suspense, or none of that. Gameplay and level design completely sold me. So,
yeah. No, well that's fine. I must admit I haven't actually played it yet.
Right.
I've been basically watching Yahtzee play it for a couple of days. He's been really enthused about it.
Yeah, but is that punctuated with like Yahtzee playing it and whinging and complaining at every step that he gets in the game?
No,
for no particular reason.
Not really, but he has made a few criticisms, some of which have been quite valid. But also, he now every time he opens something, you know that chime that happens when you unlock a puzzle?
Yes.
That's exactly the same as the one in Zelda.
Yes.
He actually does the Zelda one, like. Because it is really pretty much like they I think what they've done is they've taken the first half of that and dropped it into a minor key or something like that. Like it's basically the same sound.
Again, like maybe it's just because of the mood. I mean, I'm fine with that. And the puzzles themselves are enjoyable to tackle. They're not the kind of things where you'll have to retry it over and over again and again. I never got frustrated. But I never thought, oh, this is way too easy, or this isn't even a puzzle sort of thing, you know?
I get that you're allowed to sort of borrow elements or be inspired by games like God of War or Zelda. And I don't know how you can say any game doesn't do anything like that. Like, how many games are totally standalone and borrow no influences from anything else? I think there'd be very few.
Yeah.
And increasingly less as we get more games.
Sure.
But it just seems to me that it's, in the case of Darksiders, it's a bit blatant and a bit too far. Like, for example, his throwy, glavy thing. that they could have called the fucking boomerang
Yeah.
because it works in exactly the same way. You throw it to turn switches and it hits multiple enemies.
You get a portal gun.
I heard that.
Yeah, you get a portal gun that you can shoot at particular segments on walls or whatever, and you can throw things through it and jump through it just like Portal. Although it's very limited to that degree.
Yeah, I've heard it's not.
But
Portal
that's
in
what I
that
mean.
respect.
It direct, absolute fucking rip off from Portal, down to the fact that the actual portals themselves are blue and orange.
Blue and orange, nice.
Which, again, I'm fine with.
Okay, you have low standards.
So hold on, but this is your argument against Darksiders. How exactly does that stack up to Bayonetta?
Well, Bayonetta is different in that it's not God of War.
No, it's Devil May Cry.
It is Devil May Cry. However, I think it comes to that pedigree more honestly because it's by the same people who did Devil May Cry. If you think of it as Devil May Cry 5, that's to me totally fair.
So hold on. So you're saying that it's completely okay for a game to blatantly rip off elements of other games if it's by the same developer?
No, I'm saying that it's okay to have a similar genre and a similar feel to a game, especially if it's by people who are already known for that. BioWare. Good example. You do not expect, and we said this last time, we do not expect BioWare to make a kart racer. We know what to expect from BioWare. Similarly with Bayonetta.
Why the fuck does it matter about the developer when you're actually playing the game? Most of the people out there that play these games have no fucking idea who the developers are. They don't even know who published it half the time. Yes. Judge the game on its own fucking merits.
Okay, it's awesome.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I played the demo.
I don't fucking care that you played the demo.
No, because I played the demo. That's more than you've done on fucking Darksiders, right? I played the demo of Bayonetta, and I did read someone was saying that the first couple of levels in the game aren't a good indication of what the rest of the game actually is. Is that true, do you think? Or
I think it amps it up a bit as you move through it, and you get, for example, you get a sword, which improves combat quite substantially. I prefer combat with the sword.
Okay, all right. But okay, look.
I love the demo, so.
See, okay, you love the demo. I couldn't get into it. It was too much. It was too over the top. There were too many. How many fucking moves did this chick actually have? Half the time, most of the time, I am just button mashing because there are so many combinations of buttons and moves.
As opposed to Darksiders 2.
What do you mean?
Darksiders has like one fucking hit button, doesn't it?
No, okay. Darksiders has 2 attack buttons, which is X and Y, and of those buttons, you actually can get a limited amount of combos. But not only that, but you've got the different weapons. It's not confusing. When I do a move in Darksiders, it's because that was the move that I wanted to do because I know how to do that move.
Yeah.
Whereas in Bayonetta,
and
I went through the whole tutorial and I did, all right, this is how to do this.
So your problem with Bayonetta is that you're fucking useless.
No, my problem is
you didn't know how to play.
No.
And it was too complex for your little brain.
Too complex? There was too much going on. It's too over the top. It's too ridiculous. There was so many times playing
Rule number 1, you can never go too far.
Oh, God.
Yes!
There were too many times I'm playing that demo where I couldn't even see the main fucking character because there's enemies flying around everywhere, and there's hair flying everywhere. I didn't know what I was doing half the time.
You don't know what you're doing half the time in life. I would have thought you'd be comfortable.
That has nothing to do with playing the actual game. So anyway, look, that's my thoughts on Bayonetta, though. So you loved it. You played quite a lot.
I do. I really do. I've played through quite a lot of Bayonetta, and I've watched Talia play quite a lot of Bayonetta as well. I got slightly further than she did because I couldn't sleep last night.
Sure.
I much prefer Bayonetta to Darksiders. I've only watched Darksiders, but I do want to give it a go and see if the combat is as boring as Yahtzee makes it.
Right.
Because I can't tell if he's just doing one combo or if there only is one combo.
Yep.
So I'm interested.
There's more.
To see.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, I think at the very least, there's nothing wrong with me and Matt having different opinions on this. This is good, creates tension and conflict, and that's always entertaining for a podcast.
Yes.
But more importantly, within the first week of 2010, we've got 2 titles that the 2 of us are actually really happy with.
Yeah, exactly. There's certainly options for the players out there.
Which is a good thing, and hopefully means there'll be gooder, better things in the rest of the year.
It bodes well for the future.
It does indeed.
I think we've actually come in on time.
Oh my God!
It's like 29:40 now.
Okay, we have to wrap this up before it hits the 30-minute mark. Quick, say something witty and intelligent.
Shit.
That was neither.
No.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. We will talk to you again next week.
See you later, guys.